I am officially out of the short trade that I had from 114.2k, and in this video I'm going to cover the best long positions on the market, my entry triggers, what you are looking for next in order to get into that long that you might have been waiting for since $120,000. So, like I said, I am out of my short. This was the short trade that I've had inside the tag team, right? If you were in the team, you probably made a good amount of money. If you were not, I think this is a good signal for you to join the team, because again, like, it feels very good, right? It's a 6.5 hour swing short trade, 4.2 hour profit for me, and it was a very good one, completed inside a week. And now we are looking for the next long trade on the market. So let's talk about what we are seeing on the chart at the moment and what would get me inside a long trade this week or potentially next Monday. Now, this is out of the question at this moment. I'm only holding 5% in case we get into a bear market and I have to flex a short position from $114,000. Now, are we seeing strength on the chart at the moment? Well, for me, we are not seeing any strength as things stand. Why do I say that? Well, number one, the market structure is still bearish, right? It's very clear, it's very obvious that we have a high, we have a low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. And at the moment, as things stand, we have not seen any type of change in market structure. Plus, we have not even reclaimed the range lows yet that I've been trading for now over basically around a month, right? So at the moment, I have not seen any type of strength on the chart for me to enter a long position on the market. With that being said, have we hit an important level on the chart? Yes, we have. You can see here we have the weekly level sitting at 100.945, and we have hit that level, seen a reaction, and currently we are sitting above that level. Now that is very important, because if price was to come down and get a rejection from this weekly level and continue pushing lower, my thesis would have been that we are going to see a major flush on the chart, just like we have seen on October 10th. At the moment, that's not the most likely outcome right now. Why do I say that? Well, because if we look at the market structure on what we have seen on the chart locally, you can see that we have seen a low being put in overnight, basically in the aftermarket session, and then we have seen a big pump just before the daily open, and then we have a high being put in, and then we come down. We look like we take out the low, but we actually don't, right? We missed the low by a couple dollars, and then we have seen an instant reaction right here and a consolidation in this zone. If you have been trading for around 6-7 months or even more, you know what this price action looks like, right? Especially if I look at it like this, right? We have a low, we have a high being put in, and then we try that high once again at daily open, we fail, we push down, we try to get below the low, we couldn't, but we still go above. Now, this is a very clear pattern that shows us that the market does not want anyone to long the charts. Because if you are a New York player or a London player longing the market in this zone, you will put your stop loss at your entry at some point when you see this big pump, right? Like it's a $3,000 pump. Likelihood is that you have put your stop loss at entry at this point, you've slept, or you're Asia session trader, you're taking longs in this zone, and what happens here? Price comes down, stops everyone in this zone, and then has a big pump once again when Asia session opens up. What does this remind you of? Well, it reminds me of what we have seen in April, right? So if you go back and see what we have seen on April, and we can put a fractal from there as well. I'm going to quickly go back because it was actually a bit far back, but you can see here as well, right? How good is this one? Price comes down, has a major dump, and after this major dump, price pushes higher, has a high being put in, and at this moment, everyone who have longed the market at $74,000, $75,000, $76,000 have put their stop loss at entry, and price starts to go higher, decides to put a lower high here, and comes down without pushing below the low, puts in a higher low, which stops out everyone who entered the market around in this zone, and then sees this big pump, and then we just keep pushing higher on the chart. So if we pull up a fractal from here, like this, right? Get this from here, and then we just copy this one, and then we go to the price action that we're currently having on the local scale. I'm gotta go a bit further here. What we are seeing here is very similar to that one, right? So boom, Where is that one? Right there. And you might ask me, how do you remember these things, AG? Well, the main reason I remember these things is because I usually end up writing them down, right? When you journal these things, the remembering the price action becomes very easier because you're so used to seeing them. So here we can see here as well. It's a very similar price action. Obviously, the scale is a bit different here, but a low being put in, a high, just like this one right here. Price decides to come higher, but does not put a higher high here, comes down, tests the lows, but does not take out the lows, and then sees a big pump on the chart, just like we have seen here. So very similar to the price action that we are seeing in April when we put in the low. So do I believe at the moment that this is the low and are we pushing up to new all-time highs? Well, for me, that's very early to say. So I'm not going to say yes or no to that one, but I'm looking for signs of strength on the chart that would prove to me that the chart wants to push higher. Well, what would that be? Now, we have three things here, right? First one, the range lows. This is our macro range. Everyone knows this at this point. You can pull this range from the all-time highs. You can pull it from the 116K highs. Either way, this is your range lows. And clearly, we are currently rejecting from the range lows. So first thing, we have to reclaim range lows. Do I think it's possible? Yes, I do believe that it's possible that during New York session, we might push above the range lows. Is that enough for me to take a long position? No, it's not. Next, I'm looking for this zone right here, right? This is the previous month's October's value area low plus a time NPOC level from yesterday. This is a very, very crucial point in the market, right? You can see here as well, this is the time NPOC. This is the zone that we have spent the most amount of time yesterday. It's very crucial to me. If price is able to go above this zone where we have spent most of the time yesterday and able to reclaim the zone, that's a very big sign of strength for me, right? And I say that because this zone right here aligns with the elite wave count that I have as well. You might remember from the last video that I've had on YouTube. This is my main count, right? The 5 ended right here with a 3, 4, 5, and then we had this A, we had this B, we had this C, and the C actually ended with a wave 5 failure here. And currently, in my opinion, we are still putting in the 1, the 2, the 3, and a potential 4 and a 5. Right, this is my main count on Bitcoin as things stand. I'm looking for a big consolidation here for the rest of the week. And then next week, maybe on Monday, maybe on Tuesday, maybe later next week, I'm looking for another downtrend to take out the lows that we are having right now on the charts. Now, is this my only plan on the market? No, it's not. However, this has been my plan since we put in the A right here. Go back on my tweets, go back on my tag team content, you will see that I was looking for a high to be put in this zone and a big downtrend to fill the wick, and then I'm looking for, at the moment, a 4 to be put in this zone right here. Could be like this as well. And then another downtrend to finish the major downtrend that we have seen on Bitcoin. Now, what would be the invalidation of this thesis? For me, the invalidation is very, very simple. For the fourth wave to be valid, it needs to be below the wave 1 low, right? So this is the zone that we have where we can potentially put in the wave 4 high. If price is able to go above $107,000, my bearish thesis is over, and the count that we have on the local scale is done as well. So this would be the macro low on the chart, in my opinion, if price is able to reclaim $107,000. Now, that being said, you might ask me, well, AG, if that is your thesis, if you believe that the market will put in a lower low here, why don't you short the market here? I might, right? I don't know right now. If price is able to, let's say, if price this week does one of these moves and goes up, right, and comes down, hits time NPOC, goes up once again, and we see a bigger consolidation right here, and we put in a local lower low here, and then we do this, right? I might short at some point on Thursday or on Friday, whatever it is. But for now, we are at the range low. So my main focus when we are at range lows is I am looking for longs, right? I could take a scalp short in this zone depending on the order flow. If we are seeing a clear bearish divergence here, if I'm seeing so many longs entering the market here, well, obviously I'm going to take a short. But it's going to be a scalp short. The longs that I'm looking for are always going to be after a consolidation. That consolidation could be many different things, right? The most common one here would be a triangle. So if this was a low that we put in on the chart, it could be the case where we push higher here, we put in a high, we put another low right here, we put in this and that, and we see a local triangle being formed. And at this point, I'm looking for the breakdown and then looking for that swing failure pattern of the third wave for a long trade to the range highs. So we need patience, right? At the moment, I am not looking for longs until we see a consolidation. It could be this, it could be a different case as well, right? It could be just a range where price goes up, price goes down, and does this, does a bit of that, and then takes out the low, and here I end up taking the long trade based on the wick of accumulation pattern. So I don't know what's going to happen next, but I know for a fact that the best opportunity on the market will come after a consolidation that lasts at least 4 or 5 days. Why do I believe 4 or 5 days is my target? Well, mainly because of how long the wave 2 lasted here. So if we end up getting the date range here from wave 1 low to the wave 2 high, you can see it's 3 days long. So if the wave 2 was 3 days, I like that wave 4 to be a bit longer. So I want this consolidation to last 5 days, 7 days, depending on how long it is. And then after 5-7 days, there's obviously a point where we have this downtrend as well, which could last 1, 2, 3 days, which means that the likelihood is that the best swing longs on the chart will come in later in the month. And again, I am very happy to be wrong on this one. I'm very happy to invalidate this thesis. But right now, with how well this count has been respected, I am looking for swing longs at the end of November, right? With that being said, like I said, I don't have to be right. What would invalidate this thesis? Well, like I said, if price is able to push higher here, and let's say we do one of these and price goes higher, and if price reclaims $107,000, it doesn't have to be reclaimed, but just price pushes above $107,000, at this point, it would be very, very easy to say that the downtrend here is over. And at this point, rather than looking for new lows on the market, I would look for a pattern like this. Price pushes higher, maybe visits the golden pocket here, and then comes down. And at the moment here, this is when I would look for longs on the higher low right here. All right, so my plan is very simple. If this zone is breached, I am looking for a long when we see a higher low being formed like this. And my target with this one would be new all-time highs. All right, 4.38 R trade, and this could be a bit shittier as well, right? If we end up taking the long from here, 3R, still very good. So this is my thesis here. If the zone here is not breached, so if price does not do this, and we don't see the reclaim, and price puts in, again, it's an example, not a fact. If price comes here, puts in a bit of a triangle move here, and does this, and the wave 4 ends here, and then we push down once again, I'm looking for longs on the swing failure pattern of this move right here, right? And you could take this in many ways. If you're a spot investor, I would say that the best thing you can do is have your long there and put your stop loss below 87K, right? Because the reason I say that is because even if you have a 13-point stop loss, with this manipulation, your main target would be around $130,000. So in that case, you have a 2-to-1 trade as a spot investor. That's a pretty good trade, especially in later in the cycle, right? And if you're a lower time trader, or if you're a full-on actual order flow trader, or if you're in the tag team, we might take it like this, and that will give us a 14-hour trade. Or we could be a bit more humble and just take it like this as a 7.35-hour trade. So at the moment, I have no idea what will happen next. However, whatever happens next, I am fully ready for. And that should be your goal in the market, right? When I was taking the short trade here, I had no intention of telling anyone that the next wave has to be down. I knew that this was a good trade, and I knew what my levels were. And thankfully, I made a good amount of money from that. So if you want my trade setup, so when I enter the market, right, I can't tell you my plan, but I cannot tell you when I will enter the market. If you want to know when I take these longs, right, could be the wave 4 and the wave 5 here, could be a short from here, or could be a high, a higher low, and I long the market here. If you want to know when I enter the market, tag team is the place to be, right? Whenever I get into a position, I always share it inside the tag team, and this has not changed for a long time now. And you can see here as well, right, like By the way, we have lost a long trade at some point in this downtrend as well. So I'm not claiming to be the greatest of all time, but I'm pretty good, right? The high is swept, net longs have been significantly decreasing during this uptrend, and we saw local bear divs after the high was put in. This was the original trade, right? I closed this trade for, I believe, break even, and then after this was when I entered my real short trade. Right? I took this as a 6.7 hour trade with invalidation above the fifth wave. I'll treat the golden pocket as a different trade if I get invalidated, as this is happening. So if you want these, if you want actual trade setups, and if you want the education that you need to learn about how to trade these things and also how to read these charts, the best place to be is the tag team. So that's my plan right now. If you have any questions, please let me know inside the comment section, and I will make sure that I answer all of the questions that you have there. So thank you so much. If you like this content, please leave a like, leave a comment, and I will see you in the next one. Adios.